WWE is putting it right in front of your face. Now, if you're paying attention to the little details, then you know exactly what this video is about. But if you don't pay attention to the details, then you're just simply not aware, and that's okay. So in today's video, we're going to talk about it because The Rock did something absolutely asinine. The Rock has finally acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. And the reaction from Paul Heyman says it all. Now, the reason why I'm even talking about this is because WrestleMania 40, it's going to be big. But I truly believe that WrestleMania 41 is where it all ends. And you might be wondering, can we afford to do another year of storytelling with the bloodline? Now, if you watch my content, you know that I've been very much on board with the whole Cody Rhodes finishing the story, and that doesn't change. I spoke about this the other day. Cody Rhodes finishing the story at WrestleMania 40. That's what I expect. I will be incredibly disappointed if it doesn't happen, but of course, there is a long-term story at play. Now, the real story for Cody is getting the belt. The bigger story for the WWE is actually not Cody Rhodes and the belt. It is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Now, it's an interesting storyline because the bloodline storyline at certain points along the way in the last 3 years has gotten stale. Last year at WrestleMania, the tag team match with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens against the Usos, it was fantastic, and it's like really incredible stuff. Obviously, Cody and Roman and Solo Sikoa, they all had some great stuff happen in the past year. Drew McIntyre and Roman had some great stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the bloodline storyline was starting to get stale. And the more and more that we discuss this, I would typically say, hey, this storyline needs to end. However, I don't actually believe that to be the case because of what happened on SmackDown. Now, The Rock coming back was obviously not necessarily a shocker, but I guess The Rock coming back, turning heel, and doing all of that stuff was absolutely mind-blowing and absolutely shocking. So, therefore, it completely changed a lot of things going forward. And that's why I don't mind this particular storyline going on for one more year. But of course, it does require that the belt gets dropped at WrestleMania. And I don't know if I have the confidence in WWE to do that, quite frankly. And that's going to be a very interesting thing to pay attention to because if Cody Rhodes wins the belt, which I think is the right call, you can continue telling some great stories for the WWE Championship. And I think the cool thing about the Roman and the Rock storyline is it doesn't require the championship at all. Now, when you see the bloodline all pointing together, right? They're doing their thing. They're acknowledging the bloodline. Paul Heyman has his eyes in shock. His eyes are completely shocked at what he's seen with The Rock and Roman Reigns. And WWE isn't hiding it. There is an emphasis on this with the camera work. WWE wants you to know that The Rock and Roman, it's not a long-term alliance. And the reality is, it is going to make for some really good content, especially when you look at things going for 1 year. Because you may have heard my previous video where I spoke about Tama Tonga potentially joining The Rock. Don't know if that's the case. Preferably, I would like to see him with the OC. But if Tama Tonga joins The Rock and Solo Sikoa, it makes a lot of sense for them to be the bloodline heels, and obviously Roman and the Usos being the baby faces. I'm not going to explain this in this video. If you guys don't think it makes sense, go watch that video to have a better understanding of that fantasy booking. But ultimately, Solo Sikoa, if you pay attention to Solo Sikoa on camera yesterday, he's also sick of this shit. The Rock is talking, he's got facial reactions. At the end of the day, what I am witnessing and what I am noticing 1000% as I watch this is that Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman are the wild cards. And I actually think for the first time, Roman Reigns is in a situation where Roman Reigns is a little bit more vulnerable. You know, The Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns, it's going to throw him off guard when The Rock eventually turns on him. But as you could tell, Solo Sikoa never trusts anybody, and Paul Heyman sure as hell doesn't trust The Rock here. And again, WWE is not hiding this. They are putting this in plain sight. They want you to know that this is the case. WWE is exposing themselves openly for all the fans to understand that something bigger is happening here. Does it undervalue the WWE Championship match? No. Cody's story has always been about getting the WWE Championship. Yes, I think the Bloodline versus Cody has been great, but there is a million ways to book this. In fact, I would say Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins actually need to lose WrestleMania Night 1. That's right. The Rock challenged them to a tag team match. The Rock and Roman need to win. They need to win. And then Bloodline rules match. All odds against Cody. Cody is the superhero. He gets the job done. Ultimately, Cody is walking out with the WWE Championship. Seth Rollins is not walking out with the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is going to lead to some really good content. And again, this is 1 year in the making. So in order to have the most effective storytelling for WWE here, the belt could not be on Roman Reigns. The Rock doesn't give a shit about the WWE Championship. He doesn't care about Cody's story. There's no empathy there for Cody or Dusty Rhodes. The Rock is single-handedly telling you that he acknowledges Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. That right there is everything you need to know. Head of the table, head of the family dynasty. This is all about passing of the torch. And ultimately, I think the best part about this is the fact that WWE for 1 year not only has a lot of content that they could do, but there's going to be a mass importance on this match. And I've said this before, WrestleMania 41, potentially in Las Vegas, on Netflix, more viewership. It just seems like a no-brainer for it to happen. You're going to have different matches. You bring the Usos and Roman together as baby faces. People, it will be a feel-good moment. The Rock is actually on TV as well, so that is something that you got to factor in a little bit. But I also want to point out one more thing, because this is something that we haven't talked about in a while. Don't forget about that press conference. Triple H and The Rock. That moment was pretty significant. And obviously, I don't expect Triple H to wrestle. But when you factor in Nick Khan and Triple H being involved in the storyline, this could be really cool. You don't necessarily need The Rock every single week. You don't necessarily need Roman Reigns every week. But you can get there, and it is possible. And the best part is there's a lot of players involved here where it's like one massive family with a ton of drama split up and different family members involved. And this is where I think you should bring in everybody's fathers, uncles, cousins, sisters. Get them all on TV for this. There's a lot of ways to do it. But anyways, WWE is exposing themselves. Like I said, they're telling you this in plain sight. They're not hiding it at this point anymore. And I think that's a really good thing. And ultimately, I think this is a storyline that we should all be watching. I'm excited about it. I want to know what you guys think. The Rock versus Roman, WrestleMania 41. I think that's what we get, baby.